Alright, so we are halfway through the month of April. Last month, in the month of March, we got a brand new Ghostbusters film, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. I have yet to film a ranking for it. I am doing that today and going to put it out there. Before I do that, please make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell, and comment down below. What is your ranking of the 5 Ghostbusters films? Last ranking I did was Kung Fu Panda, and that one was very controversial. There's a bunch of people, Marie, that thought the ranking was not very good, but this one's gonna be even more controversial. Once you see what's at my 3 spot, you're gonna probably be kind of mad at me. Just please, it's just my opinion. Don't unsubscribe. Just yeah, it's just my opinion. And with that said, coming in 5th place is, without a doubt, Ghostbusters 2. Now let me describe a movie for you here. 4 nerds who the world has shunned decide to come together and build a corporation where they hunt ghosts. They end up getting caught in a conspiracy that involves Bill Murray's new girlfriend, with a plot to take over and destroy the world. What movie is that? If you guessed Ghostbusters, you're correct. If you guessed Ghostbusters 2, you're right. This is literally the same exact movie. The same exact one. And I cannot stress that enough, how it is absolutely insane that right after Ghostbusters 1, where you saw the big freaking marshmallow guy standing right there, like the big one standing right there. Everybody in New York saw that. A couple years later, 5 years later, oh, it was all staged. The Ghostbusters are fake. We're shunning them from society. This has to be historically one of the worst ideas in a film that I have seen in quite some time, to completely undo the first movie, kind of do it all again. If it worked with the first movie, why doesn't it work here? Because it doesn't make sense. Why would the Ghostbusters be shunned from society? Why would they get in an argument when things are too good? Then they gotta come together and does the same exact thing. Now, Bill Murray and his girlfriend broke up. They are getting back together in the timeline of the movie. Oh, they're back together at the end of it. It's the same exact plot. Almost. The villain doesn't bring anything fresh or new to the table. I thought he was just kind of like, blah. Like, there's not anything that made me mad about him or that I didn't like about him. It's just, he just wasn't interesting. Like, I was not invested in this villain whatsoever. Sure, there's fun moments. Obviously, Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, everybody in this cast is top-notch, incredible. But I kind of felt like it's just a rehash, and for a movie that had limitless ideas, they decided to do the exact same idea from the first movie? What? Like, that is insane. A jump up is number 4 with Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, the latest movie in this franchise. I liked the last 45 minutes of the movie. I thought the last 45 minutes were what I went to see this movie for. The ghost here is, I think, the best ghost in the franchise. I think he was terrifying and really cool. The ghost-busting action was really fun. So when the movie decided to be exactly what I wanted in the final 45 minutes of the movie, it was a fun time. It was an enjoyable Ghostbusters movie. But I'd say the first hour and 15 minutes are pretty much just it's basically the plot of a video game. Like, it feels like you're controlling these characters, and then you go to one character and he's like, okay, so we got this stuff that we need you to do. And then you instantly go to another character, we got this stuff. It reminded me a lot of the Spider-Man video game, where you swing around the city and you go help people, and then you have this whole stack of things when you're bored that you could just complete a couple side missions. That's what it felt like the majority of the movie was, until we got to the end, when it actually decided to have the plot of the Frozen Empire. I was sitting back like, huh, okay, this is kind of boring, and not gonna lie, I was kind of bored watching this movie. On top of that, the characters, a lot of them are just so unlikable, specifically Phoebe. I thought Phoebe, McKenna Grace's Phoebe, was really, really unlikable in this movie. No hate to McKenna Grace, she's great, but her character arc was, I'm too young, so they kicked me out of the Ghostbusters, and now I'm going to be super gullible and almost get everyone killed. The way that the her ghost friend was able to convince her to do this, it is so far out of character that it is darn near it's senseless. It doesn't make any sense why that would happen. So it's just a bunch of plot contrivances that are so far out of character. And so it just felt like a weird experience. Like you're just sitting and watching a movie that's got good ideas. When it's a Ghostbusters movie, it's fun, but they didn't have enough planned out for it. Like they said, they started, the basis for this was The Real Ghostbusters, which is like a half-hour TV episode. And I could really see that, because I think this would very excel as like an hour TV show. Because the majority of the movie just is time-consuming stuff that, hey, we gotta have this, we meet a runtime. It's kind of boring. But when we get to the final 45 minutes, I had a big grin on my face and I did enjoy myself. This is why I said that this ranking will be controversial, because number 3 is going to be Ghostbusters from 2016. It's higher up than a lot of you would have thought, I know. I actually don't hate this movie. Yeah, when we get the original Ghostbusters and they're coming in as cameos as no-name characters, yeah, it kind of pisses me off. Yeah, I don't think that was a good idea by the studio execs whatsoever. That is a terrible idea. But it's not a good Ghostbusters movie, but as a Paul Feige comedy, I thought it was really, really, really enjoyable. I thought it could be just a fun comedy where, like, obviously you've seen the type of movie before, but it's a movie that you can sit down and you can watch and you won't necessarily be bored by. I don't think it was the funniest movie, but a couple scenes got me a little chuckle out of it. I was like, huh, that's a little charming, that's a little cool. The cast here, they're not perfect. Again, they're not the original Ghostbusters, but they're fine. If this movie wasn't titled Ghostbusters and a movie about a bunch of women trying to stop ghosts from destroying the city, I'd say it's a pretty good movie. I'd say that it's enjoyable. But as it's Ghostbusters, it has to tarnish the legacy that the original Ghostbusters set. So it's kind of like, oh, okay, that's distasteful. But it's watchable. As a comedy, it's really can be enjoyable. It obviously, you know exactly what's going to happen. Like, I fell asleep the last 10 minutes and I woke up and I'm like, okay, let me guess. So they stopped the ghosts. Somebody made a sacrifice, but they flipped it all around. So I rewound it, and that's exactly what happened. I have seen the movie a long time ago. I didn't remember a single thing about the movie, but like it's that predictable, but it's fun. At least I wasn't bored like I was during the other 2 movies on the list. Coming in second place, which is a huge, huge, huge jump up from the other 3. And I can't elaborate enough that it's a huge, huge, huge jump up. These next 2 movies I think are pretty great. Number 2, don't hate me. I know that unsubscribe button looks pretty big right now. Don't hit it. Ghostbusters, the original. Okay. I got a good reason for this. This movie's a classic. When I was growing up, I never liked the movie. I thought it was paced really weird. The story was kind of odd. I liked the cast, but that's it. But having seen the movie enough times, every time I come back to this movie, it's always like revisiting an old friend, if that makes any sense. Like, oh yeah, I love this cast. It's just really fun to watch the cast interact, and that's what's enjoyable about the movie. Every time that the cast was on screen and just interacting with each other, I was having a blast. The movie is pretty funny. It's very enjoyable. It's entertaining. Exactly what a movie needs to do from the 80s. And I really, really, really dug the movie. It's really kind of nostalgic for me, even though I never really enjoyed the movie. It kind of came back as nostalgic for me, and even though I haven't seen this in a couple of years, it was nice to revisit this, and I had a good enough time with it. The problem here is I always think every single time I watch the movie, it sufficiently drags in that final battle. I think everything from there is pretty great, but once we enter that final battle, it just kind of like slows to kind of a crawl. And I can't help but be like, okay, yeah. Just give me sequences where the cast is just having fun. I don't need to see them battle a big giant marshmallow man. And it's a good sequence, but it always just kind of, it's not as entertaining as the rest of the movie and kind of drags the movie down. That's why it's in second place. But I still think this is a really solid movie, and I'm really glad that I really enjoyed it this time once I came back to it. But yeah, you're watching this ranking correctly. Number 1 is Ghostbusters Afterlife. I really liked this movie. I really did. When I first saw it in the theater, it was just like Ghostbusters. Like, I never liked the Ghostbusters franchise until this rewatch. Now I kind of dug it. Not my favorite. I don't think it's perfect, but I thought it was better than it was before. This movie was a movie I saw in the theater and I did not like really that much. Obviously, it was during my YouTube break in 2021 where I just was kind of out of it and didn't want to do YouTube anymore. But I went to see the movie and I didn't like it. Now I finally rewatched it all these years later, gave it a real fair chance now, and I kind of really liked the movie. I thought it was exactly what a Ghostbusters movie set in the this century. I felt it was exactly what it needed to be. As you get the cast, they're all likable. They're all the kids that we can relate to. There's an emotional story here. There's enough that fans of the original can really dig the movie, while newcomers can really also dig the movie. There's a little bit of everything there. The nostalgicness, the enjoyable aspect of like a coming of age story. This is a coming of age movie, and the characters are really likable in this movie. Unlike Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, you really dig all these characters. It's really enjoyable. The ghost-busting action is pretty great. It kind of is the best movie in this franchise, and I really dug the movie. A lot of things it was going for, and that emotional undertone with the death of Harold Ramis is absolutely sad. Like, it is really sad. Obviously, there's people that hate it for the CGI bringing back a Harold Ramis. I think it's pretty great. I think it's pretty emotional, and it brings back it has something for everybody. Nostalgicness, deep emotions, a coming of age story. It's everything that a Ghostbusters movie set in this century should be, and I really dug the movie. What is your ranking of the Ghostbusters movies? I want to know all that and more. Coming up soon is my next video is going to be on my second channel. It's going to be a haul, and then it's also going to be a everything I watched movie, kind of everything I watched in March combined. Then after that, it's going to be a March ranking on this channel, and then it should be a Monsterverse ranking. Or no, it should be a Civil War review, then the Monsterverse ranking. All that should be coming this week if I have time. So thank you guys for clicking on this video. Let me know down below what is your ranking of the Ghostbusters movies. And with that said, subscribe, join the Nerd Army. Peace out.